Log Horizon, Volume 1, Chapter 3, Battle of Roka, Part 1.
We looted a lot this round. We're making a killing out here!
Naotsugu swung his skinning knife to shake off the blood before sheathing it. Shiroe nodded in agreement as he put down his staff to cancel the spells he had prepared. I'm feeling melancholic again after recollecting various things. Shiroe shrugged with a sigh. This was really a headache. There were so many things troubling him since arriving in this world that he forgot what he was brooding about sometimes. I hope this doesn't become my catchphrase.
What is it, my lord?
Akatsuki had finished packing and was by Shiroe's side before he knew it. Shiroe was unable to calm his emotions in front of her shiny black obsidian-like eyes that looked at him from a low angle. Let's go back, Shiroe said with a smile to change the topic. Shiroe's group was in a place called Small Stone Herb Garden, a relatively small field zone about 1 square kilometer in size. It was already evening, the wind was starting to turn chilly, and the sound of birds chirping was all around them. This zone was close to both Akiba and Shibuya, a place suitable for one-day training trips. The monster level was a bit high for a place so near the city. Let's hurry back then.
Roger.
After listening to Shiroe, Akatsuki replied seriously without emotion as usual as she fastened her pack. The defeated corpses of triffids and briar weasels laid all around them, and would disappear in a shower of light particles after some time. Triffids were a type of mobile plant with a flower bud the size of a rugby ball on top of it. The bud would peel back in 3 parts, revealing the sharp teeth inside. A horrifying creature. A briar weasel, on the other hand, let vines grow on its body. It was faster than a cat and could attack with its vine. An agile monster. The levels of these monsters were 48 and 52, respectively. Their levels were quite high in the world of Elder Tales, but they were 40 levels below Shiroe's team, so they wouldn't gain any experience from them. After days of training, Shiroe's party suspected this world faithfully followed the setting of Elder Tales. They had not confirmed this yet, but they probably needed to defeat monsters at least 5 levels below them, or in other words, enemies level 85 and above for them to gain experience. It would be a very tough fight if they took on level 85 monsters now. They might be able to handle one, but not if they were attacked by a group. You doing fine?
I took some potions, so I'm good. My defense is like an iron wall! Iron Festival!
Naotsugu responded with a grin while knocking on his armor. His grey gauntlets made a clear, dull sound as they hit his breastplate. According to Naotsugu, you felt less pain from enemy attacks than in real life. You didn't feel half dead even when your health bar was halved, and only felt a bit sore and warm from the wounds all over your body. Naotsugu described the worst pain as stubbing your toe on the corner of a cabinet. That would be painful enough to make me cry 3 times. Shiroe frowned at his description, but Naotsugu continued to laugh heartily. Even if it is this way for now, there is no way of telling if it will remain like this. Shiroe remained on guard as he thought. The low-level enemies have weak attacks, so there's no rush to make snap judgments or ensuring a retreat path. But we will take more damage as the monster level increases. Even an excellent guardian like Naotsugu won't be able to handle it as easily as he does now. We need to think of other possibilities. Among the 12 classes, the one with the highest HP and defense combination on the front line was the Guardian. If there were attacks Naotsugu couldn't withstand, it would be impossible for any other classes to do so. We will need a healer after all, but I don't want to increase the number of teammates if we take efficiency into consideration. I doubt our teamwork would be any good if we invited anyone with such motives. We will just be sent back to town if we get wiped out, but... The miracle of revival existed in this world. Even if they died in battle, they would respawn in the cathedral. Shiroe's group knew this. But they still refrained from pushing themselves too hard, even with their revival guaranteed. Death was still an unacceptable taboo for them. Being able to come back to life after we die is really suspicious.
My lord?
Hey Shido, hurry up!
After acting together for several days, they had made great progress in both personal relations and teamwork than Shiroe had expected. The members of this team had fit really well into this new dynamic, despite their history of working alone. As they got used to life as a group, their individual characteristics were magnified too. In this team roster, Shiroe naturally became the guy who was responsible for worrying about things. I have been playing the part of tactician since my tea party days anyway. Shiroe got lost in his own thoughts easily. He had also noticed this bad habit, but it was not something you could change that easily, even if you knew about it. It's okay to be the guy responsible for worrying, but I don't want to be the guy who spoils the mood, Shiroe thought. Let's withdraw then. Do you need me to shine a light? Shiroe asked this as he prepared his magic light spell.
Shiroe dono, please wait.
There's no need to address me as a lord. We are comrades. Can't you just call me Shiroe?
Then please address me as Akatsuki too.
Akatsuki stared at Shiroe as she spoke after brushing aside Shiroe's request. How should I describe Akatsuki's gaze? Akatsuki was a beautiful young lady, no matter how you looked at her. And because of that, Shiroe found it hard to withstand Akatsuki's gaze. He didn't hate it, but it made him uncomfortable. Shiroe was a typical homely online gamer who was bad at socializing with others. He didn't have much experience dealing with girls. No matter what excuse I use, the bottom line is, I'm shy and I don't know how to react. This is something that can't be helped, right? Yes, I understand, I really do.
My lord?
Akatsuki said as she took a step forward, akin to kicking a man while he was down. Akatsuki had to look up at him due to the height difference, which made Shiroe feel a little sorry. What is it? What's so funny, Naotsugu? Naotsugu was looking at Shiroe and Akatsuki with a smile on his face. After snapping at Naotsugu, he asked Akatsuki to continue.
I'll be scouting ahead on our way back.
Why?
Practice. Assassins have dark vision, sneak, and silent move. I want to see how it feels using them in this world. The forest is a perfect place to practice.
Akatsuki looked at the dark areas of the forest as she fastened her sword with her belt waistcloth, making her preparations as she informed them of her intention. Moving alone. Shiroe gave his permission after considering for a while. The zone didn't seem to have monsters stronger than the two types they fought. Akatsuki should be able to take on any single monster, or run away if there were too many enemies. She wanted to confirm her skills, so she would be ready when she needed to use them. Shiroe understood her concerns. Knowing the limits of your abilities was crucial to surviving in this world. Be careful. Let's meet by the south gate. We'll stay illuminated using magic light as we go. You can use that to find us.
I understand. I can find you if we are in the same zone.
If you formed a party and were in the same zone, you could find your allies through the direction and distance displayed on your screen. It shouldn't take long for them to meet.
See you later then, Shrimp Akatsuki!
Be quiet, stupid Naotsugu,
Akatsuki retorted, and was gone the next instant, as if she'd merged with the forest.
That shrimp is good. I couldn't even hear the leaves rustle.
Naotsugu whistled. Shiroe shrugged and chanted the spell for magic light, and the tip of his staff glowed like a lamp. In the dimly lit forest illuminated by the fading orange light of the evening sun, the magic light gave off a gentle and soothing light. Let's be on our way.
Okay, tactician, let's march towards our goal of panties!
Shiroe and Naotsugu headed for the east gate, under the illumination of the light. Step by step. The trail was full of grass that looked like ribbons with dew and pebbles covered in moss. Shiroe and Naotsugu walked on this path, advancing through the imperial forest. This is like walking in Yakushima Island, or the Amazon rainforest that I saw on Web TV. Even if the others say this is an alternate world, I still find it hard to believe. You could faintly hear the pleasant sound of insects. The duo waded through the undergrowth. They had to rely on Naotsugu's sword to bash a way through as they moved through the forest in the night.
So Akatsuki's subclasses tracker.
Naotsugu's words reminded Shiroe of the earlier conversation. The sneak and silent move skills that Akatsuki used were tracker skills. Trackers was one of the many subclasses in Elder Tales, letting you learn skills to track or avoid being tracked in turn. A feature common to all subclasses in Elder Tales was the provision of skills that were not directly related to combat. Subclasses were also independent from the 12 main classes that were battle-focused, so you could learn any subclass if you met the requirements. There were two main types of subclasses. One type was production subclasses, like chef, tailor, blacksmith, and carpenters. Players with such subclasses could craft all sorts of items using the appropriate ingredients and facilities. It was easy to learn a production subclass. You just needed to buy an instruction manual from NPCs, and you could start accumulating experience. The experience for a subclass was separate from battle experience, so it was tedious to level it up, but it didn't require any special quest or items. Anyone could grind it to high levels if you were determined enough, and you didn't need your comrades' help to do this. Shiroe was a scribe, which was also a production subclass. He could duplicate magic tomes, maps, and all sorts of documents using paper and ink. Being nobles, merchants, and rose garden princesses belonged to the other type, which was the role-playing subclasses. Unlike production subclasses, they couldn't craft items, but they could learn some special skills and rare techniques. They could also get rare equipment in some situations. Tracker was a role-playing subclass. It had the ability to track other players or foes, erase their presence, and move in the dark. Shiroe wasn't very familiar with the Tracker subclass. The 12 main classes that dictated combat were designed by the creators of Elder Tales, a large American corporation. The strength of each class would be balanced for each update, and more subclasses would be added. The outsourced company in each country, such as Fuji Entertainment in Japan, may create a subclass unique to its server. Shiroe remembered about 50 subclasses from memory, but with each exclusive subclasses created in other servers, it was hard to guess their number. Powerful subclasses were popular and famous, so Shiroe knew about them and had a rough idea of their features. But even a veteran player like Shiroe wouldn't know about some obscure subclasses. Out of the countless subclasses, trackers were sort of well known. It had useful abilities, but it wasn't something a player would need often, so it was in the middle in terms of popularity. Players not as hardcore as Shiroe might not have heard of it, but it was more famous than sailors or janitors. She really is dedicated to her role-playing. Naotsugu grinned to express his agreement. A tracker assassin. She's obsessed with ninjas. I can see why she would call herself one. Akatsuki's style of giving her all made Shiroe and Naotsugu smile. Role-playing always gave the impression of playing pretend, but Akatsuki's serious approach to it made the act feel real.
What do you think of our shrimp girl, Shido?
Very active on the front lines, with a high level of focus. Shiroe replied to Naotsugu's vague question after a moment of consideration. Naotsugu was asking Shiroe for his opinion on Akatsuki. Shiroe had a good impression of Akatsuki, but he was acting indifferent because he felt embarrassed about praising her. Enough about me. What about you, Naotsugu? Has your burden increased?
The burden's decreased. Compared to just the two of us, we're clearing the monsters way faster. Some minions are dealt with before I can even turn to face them. She may be a shrimp, but she's a strong shrimp.
Naotsugu replied to Shiroe as he led the way. Naotsugu was kind and cheerful, the type that was very sociable. He made crude jokes sometimes, but Shiroe felt he did this intentionally, to ease the mood. But Naotsugu wouldn't mince words when talking about battles. He might be polite about it, but he would not lie. From what Shiroe remembered about Naotsugu's criticism of other players, he almost gave full marks to Akatsuki. But she mentioned her reach was shorter and her attacks had less weight after she adjusted her appearance, right?
I was never a shrimp, so I wouldn't know about her reach. But with her speed and agility, that shouldn't be important, right? Why don't you try taking a knee in the face from her? It's real quick. My eyes can't keep up even if I want to block it.
I would rather not. Naotsugu rubbed his nose as he recalled the pain and said,
As to her attack dropping because of her weight, it should be true since she said so herself, huh? According to the settings, your attack isn't affected by gender, and having more weight on your punches may not increase your attack power. But this is just what she felt, so there's no other way to tell. If her attack power really has decreased, maybe she'll be fine with Shiroe's support spells backing her up.
Naotsugu said as he pried away a leaf with thorns. About that, he is right. Shiroe was an enchanter, one of the 3 magic attack classes. Each of the warrior, weapon attack, healer, and magic attack categories had 3 classes, each forming a total of 12 classes. The enchanter was one of these 12. Among the magic attack classes, enchanters were best at support, setting up the battle stage and using crowd control. It had a variety of support spells. Keen Edge was one such support spell that increased weapon attacks. Thornbind Hostage could deal additional damage with its cursed vines every time an ally hit the enemy. Mind Shock attacked the psyche of the enemy to numb its senses. The Enchanter was a special class that contributed to victory by boosting its allies' power and controlling the flow of battle. Yeah, you're right, Shiroe replied shyly. The enchanter was the least popular class in Elder Tales and had a bad reputation among players. Shiroe had no obligation towards anyone, and chose this class out of personal preference. No matter what others said, he was confident of the enchanter's abilities and its deep potential. Shiroe also knew that an enchanter could not work alone. This class needed a party, and the effectiveness of an enchanter widely depended on how good their teamwork was. This had nothing to do with the stats of the player. How well you worked with others could not be measured numerically. Because Shiroe understood this, he felt embarrassed when others told him, "That will be fine," or "Things will work out if we do it together." For enchanters, if their existence in the team was acknowledged, it meant the player character and the personal relationships were going well.
Shido,
Yeah?
I think you're holding back too much sometimes.
Huh? Naotsugu said this as he bashed through the vegetation. This change in topic was too big, and Shiroe was unable to keep up.
For example, panties?
How did this turn into a question?
The mysterious triangle region of cute girls is always questioning the world. You should know that, you locked closet pervert.
How perverted am I in this setting of yours? Shiroe at this moment was unable to understand Naotsugu's concern and could only chase after his back. Shiroe right now was just a normal enchanter. To read along with Log Horizon, or to read any other fine light novels, go to Baka-Tsuki.org. Baka-Tsuki.org. If you want to voice a character for audio light novel Log Horizon, contact me at youtubecontact22@yahoo.com. If you want to pay for your services, I can pay some money, just not a lot, and I am willing to negotiate a price. You can also volunteer if you wish. Again, just contact me at the specified email address. I'm also willing to reply to any constructive criticism, so if you have any ideas for audio light novel Log Horizon, please leave them in the comments. If you like audio light novel Log Horizon, please leave a like or a comment, as it really does motivate me to do these.